Okay, we're live. Or at least slightly deferred live. Depends on what the lag is between myself and YouTube and the viewer. Alright, it's getting late already. Approaching 10 o'clock at night. Let's get this thing apart and find out what happened. So, what are you using? Phillips. Miles, Travis, Stewart, hey Jim, Boris, Barry, PR. You've been busy, Jim, with all the right to repair stuff. And I'm just trying to repair. Hey, Wayne's Noobs Repair. Eddie. I have to apologise. I've spent the last couple of days just trying to get grinding through some jobs, but not with a great deal of success. Mind you, I did have a run of modern USB-C type MacBooks that I managed to get repaired, so I was happy about that. Compared to the disturbing lack of success as of late. Oh wow, we've still got a spinning drive. Okay, that's no good. We've got corrosion straight up that I can see everywhere, so yeah, this is going to... corrosion, 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 corrosion. Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a clean-up job. The MagSafe event may have been coincidental, or it may have just, well, I don't know. First thing we'll do is disconnect this battery. Hopefully we don't disconnect my fingernail. Okay. And then we can proceed to take, what is it, 3115 or a 2936? Can't actually see for sure. It's got a stamp over the number. Oh, geez, backlight's also taken a hit. What are we? 3115. Okay, so it's 2012. We'll just get it out. There's no point testing or anything like that. We already know that in its current form it's going to be cactus. So best that we apply some anti-cactus cleaning. Oops. Well, the person might change to a non-spinning rust if this is a successful repair. Worst case scenario, actually, maybe I'll just swap it out with one of my own 3115 boards. Starting to get to the point where I need to move those out of my shop. Oops. I'm just going to push them down a little hard on this board. I think I'm running a little bit ahead of myself here. Need to calm the mind. Description on screen is wrong. How do you mean? Yeah, whoop-de-doo. Yep. That's funny, I thought I actually had fixed that up, but guess not. This is a good example of Paul doesn't give two hoots. Actually, the description is correct, you're just misinterpreting it. What? Getting exclusive access is a failure. That's interesting. Interesting. Something's not permitting me to... something's eating up my keystrokes. Now you've got it. Try that. Looking energetic. Ugh. Well, that's probably because I got slashed in the face last night. Check this out. This is Milo. So which eye is that? Look at this one. Yeah. He woke me up at about 4:30 this morning with a claw in under the eye. And then instead of just it being a normal scratch, he actually sunk it in and then pulled back until the flesh went pop. And that is at the point that I woke up. And then I found my pillow was covered in my own blood. Surprising amount of blood that comes from a small gouge like that around the eye. So now I'm going to have to decide whether I need to sleep with the hockey mask or something. I'm not sure. Right. I was going to say it's the decision time. And is the board held down by the plastic adhesive? It is in this case. Okay, there we go. We also have the screen retainer assembly, and then we will have the microphone to remove yet. Removing the microphone from these units is perhaps the least professional thing I get to do. I really do not enjoy it. It always feels like a complete hack. But you're just basically just jamming your spudger in there and ripping it up. It's not as bad as some things that my wife has suffered. She was resting under a shelf at one point, and what was it? Loki went to jump up to the shelf. He didn't quite make it, from what I recall, and he fell down. And his back claw just ran down the front of Alita's face, and she now has a permanent mark there to remind her of what Loki did. Mine, at least, will probably go away. One thing is for sure, we certainly do both carry scars from those cats. But we still continue to look after them, of course, and love them. It's not like human children don't do the same thing to you. Oof, there's more corrosion under there. Dogs will... I've had plenty of events with dogs as well. I mean, agreeably, cats are slightly less... slightly more likely to scratch you up and stuff. Oh, there's a feather in there. Joseph, no, I've got quite a lot of donors for these ones. Quite a lot. Okay, we're just going to brush off everything. No point trying to fight through the dust. I might use the fume hood. So if I do find these lying around, I know exactly which machine they belong to. And you might be thinking, who the hell loses stuff like that around the workshop. Believe me, you do. Hey, Michael Bittleman. Just Kiev. Oh, just click here. Right to repair commission went well overall. Lobbyists said that lobbyists said their usual bullcrap. Yep. Commissioner had a few pointed questions. That was good. Nice. Good to see the commission actually getting in on understanding what they're meant to be doing as opposed to just simply rubber stamping the process. Hey, Mary Claire. Yeah, when Steve raised it up and then Biden with the FTC, it kind of has emboldened a lot of people to now finally say, you know what, yeah, we actually feel that way too. We just weren't game to say it before. It only takes one person to stand up in most cases. Not all cases, but most cases. And we're lucky. We've had Lewis poking us for a long time, and then just everything else overall. Yeah, this is a pretty... Okay, so this is very much liquid damage, and it's just a lot gone all along here. Thankfully, it's missed the SMC. Alien Repairs, good evening. And so most of it's just, backlight's gone. I think that's I2C, what do you call it, one wire portion there. That'll have to be replaced. Transformer probably doesn't, not sure. It's a bit of a, that's got damage on it, damn it. Wait, no, okay. Nah, look, realistically, now that I can see all the damage that's occurred here, I'm probably a bit disinclined to repair this. More likely to, in fact, just replace this one. That just went a little bit too far. It's hard to justify repairing all of that. Especially when you consider that it's only going to take one veer to get chewed through, a couple of months later, and all the work's, no good. Yeah, but basically, I put in, because this would easily take 2.5 hours to fix up, clean up. So you put in that time, and it will only come back later with the same sort of problem. It's not chronically bad, and if this was, say, a more modern board, I would definitely attack it. But unfortunately, because this is a 2012, I'm really going to put on my business hat here and say no. What's going to be better for me to do here is just simply get one of my existing donors. Let's have a look at what this was and find out. Okay, so this was a 2.5 gigahertz. Now the only trouble is I don't know which CPU it is. Let's just power it up and find out. No, can't do that. Okay, so it's a 3115, it's 2.5 gigahertz. Let's see if I've got anything that's gonna be a match. I've got a stack here. Are these gonna play ball? Let's see, Robert Cook. Quick question, what do you think of GitHub Copilot using its user code for autocomplete? Well, I don't really know about that. I mean, I guess, hey Warren, it was that part of the terms and conditions. I mean, there of course is a 3115. There of course is the, what's the other, GitLab now that people can run to. Okay, so we've got another 2.5 here. This might be the same. Might be a perfectly decent replacement. Now the only hiccup's going to be if they need their serial number migrated, which I'm sort of like going to go meh. So I'll have a look over this board. This is a donor, of course. Well, a possible replacement. There's a smidge of corrosion on there. Hey, Keith McDermott. Hey, Greg, I just see you sneaking in there. Well, you know, saying from warm London, it hasn't exactly been cool here. Our winter has well and truly gone. Yeah, this is... Alright. This is why a lot of shops are now basically saying, look, we don't want to deal with the 2012, anything older than about 2014 anymore. Maybe 2013 if you're dealing with the 3437, 1466s and things like that. But in the rare occasion you will get a pristine 1278 or 1286. I mean, we've had a couple here ourselves. But for the most part, they're usually like this. They've got a lot of chronic medium low level corrosion effects on them. You know, they've been loitering around in humid air. I'll just go into the other workshop and see if I can find any other 3115 boards. Basically, at this point I have freedom of just picking anything that is going to work and dropping it in. No. No. Oh, what? 2936. What a jip. Okay, that attempt was not successful. Let's have a look in the next box. So many magical boxes in this workshop. Okay. Don't need to go to the gym. This box that I just picked up weighs probably in the region of 30 kilos. Okay, we've got a 3115 here, which I've amusingly written as a 3315. Bravo, Paul, bravo. It's a 2.5 gigahertz, so it's a candidate. Let's see. We've got another 3115. It looks like a fully intact one at that. Empty chassis. $29.36. Still reasonably good machines, but yeah, it's another 3115 chassis. That's what I mean. I need to just put these things together and sell them. Let's see. From a Fox, mine to keep. Ooh, have a look at that. A freebie, and I didn't even know it. Empty. Empty. And if I look above my head on a higher shelf, I've got another two 1278s of unknown origin and content. So we'll have a look at those two. Okay, one of them's a 2936. We'll leave that up there. Sorry, buddy. No one loves you tonight. So that was one 3115, and we have another 3115, and another 3115, an unknown, slightly unknown, some screws I need to get out. So I really need to just put these together and flog them off whatever I can get for them, probably about $250, maybe $300. I'll put like a 120 gig solid state in them. And as long as they run, they're good machines. It's not like their PC laptop, because you got to realize that these machines typically come with at least an i5 processor in them. And when you compare that to, say, a PC laptop, most PC laptops of this era barely have an i3 in them. So you can see why these machines persist for so long. You're an ancient thing. See how the display connector is perpendicular there? So I don't exactly know what board that is, but I know it's not the one I'm after. Put you on the ground. I'm just going to open up the next one. Oops. Has anyone told me I have a hoarding problem? Yeah, the funny thing is, it's not even actually a hoarding problem. It's more a case of I'm too lazy to discard stuff. So I'm more than happy to discard things, but it's such a schlep to actually do it that stuff still builds up. It's not because I actually want to hoard. I'm more than happy to get rid of stuff. I'm just too lazy. You might be a 3115. Okay, and at this point, okay, so that's 315. Okay, this is the customer's original one. We've got the stamp there. I'm just going to write on that, so we know it's theirs. Hey, Yummy Steak, you been enjoying those pineapple pizzas lately? I see you've been secretly ordering them from Pizza Hut, using fake names. There's nothing to be ashamed of, you know. Alright, so we've got a 3115 here. This one actually looks like it could be in pretty good shape, so at least a preliminary. So we're going to take this one out and try our luck. What I might do is plug it in and just plug power on and see what happens. So charge. So you immediately get a green light. We've got a fan spin. We're actually looking pretty good there. Even sounds good. What's the bet this actually just works fine? And don't worry, if we don't end up actually doing any board repair on this, I've got a bunch of iPads that I need to have a look at. They're pretty bad shape, but I want to see if it's maybe viable to repair them. The main reason being is I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before, but I do want to get an iPad, something like a 6th generation or something like that for my mother. She gets pretty lonely these nights because she no longer has her husband, and it's already been 5 months, but time does not really ease the passing of the evenings very well. So she has made mention that she would like an iPad, so I'm just going to see if I can get something like a 6th generation and fix it up. Worst case scenario, I'll just buy her one outright, on second hand or something like that. They're not too expensive anymore. Jan Jarrett? Is it Jan Jarrett or Yan Jarrett? I don't know. Are we doing Deutsch type languages? Can never tell. That's the trouble when you go overseas, travel around, is after a while you start to not really be sure how someone wants their name pronounced, because there's so many options. My ratio output has been lowered. How do you mean by ratio output? You mean my bit rate? It'll probably be my local ISP in this case, or the networker locally. Afrikaans, excellent. I suppose I should say Gundit. That is good, thank you. And then you start swearing. Come here, you little nutty. Not receiving quality as usual. Well, that could be from my side. And by that I mean the ISP not really delivering the goods lately. I've put in a couple of requests to have the service inspected and checked, but the trouble is they say to me, look, you're doing 100 megabits per second down. Why do you care about your reduced upload? Because I should be synchronizing at about 40,000 kbps, but the last week and a half or so I've only been getting 22,600, which I commented about the other night. And they refuse to acknowledge that that's an issue, and it's like, no, it is an issue because I'm paying for 140. I really think this board is okay, to be honest. We'll have a good visual check. Well, Jim, around here it actually doesn't matter who the provider is because they're all going through the same infrastructure. But in my case it's Dodo. And look, I've been with Dodo for, it's got to be nearly 20 years now. And there's been the occasional hiccup, but nothing significant. So it's not really going to matter if I change to a different supplier or anything like that. It's just a case I've got to work out what's going on and get them to fix it. Do the taste test. Certainly not doing the taste test. Alright, so it is Jan Garrett. Hey, Andre. Okay, there's a bit of disgusting food in there. Well, Joseph, like I said, I've had him for 20 years here and really, I can't complain. They've always provided good speeds, everything like that. And if there's ever been an issue with the speeds and all that, it's because of the Telstra side of things, i.e. the cabling. And once that's sorted out, things have been good. But I am a little worried that they're sinking me down to, or throttling me down to 22,600 rather than to 44,000 or something like that. So I need to get to the bottom of that. And we've got Alphonse people in here. Ah, okay, so I've got a small issue here. This connector. Honestly, it's not a big issue. As long as the lock tab locks, then we'll be right. And if that still doesn't lock, then you tape it down. At this stage, I'm assuming this board works, and I just want to go over it just to be sure that there aren't, like all around this area here. Yeah, okay, so you got this crap building up. So I think what I'll do is I will throw this in the ultrasonic cleaner, and that will get rid of all the residual corrosion that's just starting to get rolling. And this should be a perfectly fine board, to be honest. And it's a 2.5, so yeah. Okay, well, that's pretty much the end of that. I'll just strip this down. Another pair of 2 gig sticks for me to lose. So does anyone even use them anymore? Araldite. Yep, that's the other, or hot glue actually. Hey Pedro. You already finished your scamming for the night, have you, good sir? Hey Barry. Oh wait, I already said hello to Barry. Good God. Yeah, Sam, I'm not keen to ever go back to those days. I started out with a 1200 modem. There was a fair bit of pocket change to do a 1200. It was an Australian Banksia modem. It was an ISA card, so I sort of saved a little bit of money by going with the internal ISA card rather than the external box. Okay. So we're gonna call this 747 new. So I'm just gonna put it in UV ink. That way it might survive the ultrasonic clean. Oh no. Okay, stick that one aside. And we'll have a look at some iPads in the meantime. Since I've essentially left you all in a sense of disappointment. Got this stack of machines here. I was thinking of bringing in a couple of the USB-C type MacBooks, yeah, things like 1708s or whatever. But actually, come to think of it, I've got another one I need to look at. No. I'm finding at the moment still with the newer MacBooks, I am better off to actually, unless it's something like a 1041 or similar, or 239, I'm better off just doing them quietly. Otherwise I get distracted by everybody's chitter chatter and I miss the obvious issues. Alright, kick that aside. iPads. Let's see. These can go back to being the donors. The old 747 can now join donor pile. iPads. Alright, here we go. I don't think I've got anything workable in this, but we'll see. Any 555. Okay. Well, you could be a 6th gen. 1954. You might be a 6th gen. Those tabs look 6th gen. Okay, what about this one? Oh wow, this is new. It's got the charge ports on it. What is this, 7th or 8th? It's a 2109 or something. Looks like it's a similar sort of construction to the 6th gen. And this is one really early model. 1475. Wow, it hasn't even been opened. Alright. Let's try open up this one. I'm not blaming too much today. At least this has got the old style button. Okay, so what is the problem with this one? Charge is okay, display seems okay. Oh, okay, alright then. Maybe it just needs a refresh or something. There we go. Let's get this iPad violator up and running. Okay, I've just got to get this jumper off. Good for winter, terrible for summer. I used to put it up to 70, but now I basically leave it at 60. I usually find it's ample enough at 60 to do what I need to do. Interestingly, for the initial removal process, I actually turn it this way. There's got to be a reason why it's in here, so I'm fairly sure if I open it up there's going to be some major issue. Well, I shouldn't say major, but there's going to be an issue. Okay, need some safeties. Do you ever see liquid metal thermal paste? Oh yes, I do occasionally, Tony. Much to my horror. So why do people do this to their machines? Why do you go to that expense And that risk for something that you're barely going to gain 1 or 2 Celsius you might get out of it improvement. And even then, I'd say it's highly dubious that you really did. More than likely, it'll be another external factor and you're just attributing it to the fact that you changed the pace, when really it's probably going to be more likely that you just blew dust out of the fan or something like that. Alright, actually that needs a clean. It does help if you clean the gum of the guts of the old iPads off the... Okay, I've got a feeling this one's been done before by the way that just slid in all too easy. Fuck. Alright, that's already cracked. Now the only trouble with this particular model is I actually don't know where the various cables are. Yeah, I definitely don't think this is one with an combined LCD. My main issue here is just wondering where the Wi-Fi cable is. The push button should just be contacts, so I should be fine to what do you call it? Yeah, apart from the Wi-Fi antennas, which are somewhere down here. If I was actually doing a customer one, I would be on the iFixit website checking the guides to see where the various cables are. But since it's one of my own victims, I'm not bothering because I'm lazy. Bottom and right side, so you're saying here, Travis? Okay, that's pretty normal then. Where the hell are the rest of my razors? So Jan, whereabouts in South Africa are you? You know what, I'm just going to stop trying to do Afrikaans accent right now. Ish. I think one of the more frustrating things I find about the iFixit website when it comes to the guides for these iPads and such is just the sheer number of images they use to indicate, like putting all the there oh no, I thought that was correct. All of the little dividers, separators in. So it'd be easier if you just gave an X-ray map of where not to stick the things. Incidentally, this is still running at 60, so it's, you know, keeping the heat coming up. You're in the Free State, Bloemfontein. I didn't get to see Bloemfontein. I got to Durban, Nelspruit, Cape Town, of course. Lived in Pretoria and then Johannesburg and then Centurion. Mostly worked out of the Pilanesberg, Stocks and Stocks or Legacy Hotels, whatever they call themselves these days. It's pretty good fun. Had some scary moments. Had some depressing moments. Life in general. Yeah, Mike. Not much fun. This one loves bonding back to itself, it seems. Okay, at this point, usually what I like to do is, lift it up off the... Start giving it some tension. Putting the hot air on. Oh right, you're originally from Pretoria. Okay. I won't deny I'm a little bit skittish because the job I did the other week, of course I tore the damn home cable and it was just through absolute pure luck that I was able to repair it. It was just the one trace that needed fixing. If it had been any more than that, I probably would have been a goner. There we go, we've got some release then. Oh, only because I cracked the bloody screen. Note to self, if you have an unexpected release, you might have cracked something. There we go, that's what I was trying to achieve. So slice it down. There, you can see it right there. There we go. Turn off the heater for now. Get your fingers stuck. Great, fantastic. Alright, that's probably backed up enough. Now we've got some very safe to use around hot things. Use a can of compressed air of some sort. Certainly one thing I have learned with doing these iPads is that it's okay to get a bit of dust on the screen. But whatever you do, don't touch it or try to wipe it with anything that may have any sort of liquidy substance on it at all. Just, if you can't blow it off, then don't try. Because once you apply any kind of liquid to it or you try to clean it, it becomes a seemingly impossible thing to do, because you're always going to leave some sort of streak somewhere. Yeah, Mike, I'm getting myself a what do you call it, a nice clean room sort of thing. Okay, the more I play with this, the more I'm starting to think there is actually nothing wrong with this one. I don't know, I just can't imagine that the person brought it into me to have nothing wrong with it. There's got to be something wrong with it, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it was just a crack in that hairline crack. I was pretty sure I put that in myself. Where the hell's the spudger when you need it? No, even clean wipes do help. I will grant you that, they do help. But even with those, you end up with some sort of latent streaking. And to be fair, when you're using... Oh wow, this is a 3G module one too. Alright, interesting. No, you did it again, Paul? I did it a frickin' again? What the hell? I did it again. I have torn the tab. Unless that tab is from... that looks more like the piece that got torn off with the previous one. And yet somehow magically ended up in here. Yeah, I think somehow I've ended up with magically having that tab reappear as if it's some sort of demented spirit of the laptops I've slaughtered. Stuck it. No, it had to have come somewhere, because that piece, this thing here, it was over a week ago that I had problems with it. It's over a week ago that I fixed that. And now it's reappeared. That's what I'm saying, it's kind of crazy. No, well, these gloves are new. And it definitely has not come from here, because this assembly is, to the best of my knowledge, intact. There's a little piece of foam that's been chunked out, but that's not too bad. Okay, so this is 4th generation, I think. Yeah, I think it must have been on one of these plastic razors. It's the only sensible reason that I can think of. Okay, fortunately I managed to get it off without destroying the Wi-Fi, so that's good. What I'm going to do is check the charge rate. See, maybe there's a problem that I wasn't aware of. Grams. Let's see, 2.3 2 amps. So that's charging just dandy fine. No troubles at all with the charging there. Oh, folks, I think we actually got a working iPad here. It just needed a bit of a replacement refurb. I've just got to go get one of those screens. Pretty damn sure this is the same screen. Sure doth look like it. Yep. Alright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up the bonding, because I know that the bonding on these is very strong. If you can get it all down without making a mistake like I did the other time, on the first attempt, then the adhesive that comes with those particular screens will stick, unquestionably. Okay, so to get this stuff off, I'm going to leave all the bits and pieces on there for now. Right, to get this stuff off, I just use IPA, soak it up, and then slice it off. And I always forget to have my little piece of paper ready to catch all the junk. So what, I'm the crazy dentist now, am I? It's a bit of a slow, boring process, but yeah, you get there. You definitely regret it if you don't do it. And I know you can worry about me using that knife so close to the battery, but if you don't go crazy and if you keep control, then it shouldn't be a problem. Just like racing a car around a track. Shouldn't be a problem. Unless Lewis Hamilton comes up behind you and knocks you off the track. Hey, fortunately he's not around here. It'd just be a tech incident, don't worry. You didn't deliberately do it, it's just a tech incident. Branches Creations. Yes, if only the world lived on shoulds. I can imagine if you are working in one of those kiosk places where time and space is limited, you'd really want to find a quicker way of doing this. I wouldn't like to be trying to do an iPad, glass replacement, and the customer's right there going, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, I've got to go pick my kid up from school. If this isn't ready by the time I've got to go, that kid's going to be very upset and you would have ruined someone's life. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. You said you could do it in 20 minutes. Hurry up. It's already been 6 minutes. Why aren't you done yet? I said, did you ever get the cat enclosure done? Haven't finished. I've got some of the stuff for the. I'll do that. I've got to secure the perimeter so that cats from the outside cannot come in. Inside out, going out is already secured, has been for many years. But just trying to get the outside stop the outside cats from coming in, that is definitely quite a trick. And I just simply haven't had the chance to sit down and, like, all I've got to do is set up a drill press and make up a little jig to bend the 3mm steel flat bar on. It's only 3mm thick, 3 by 20mm flat bar, but I do need to set up a jig so that I can bend it. Otherwise what's going to happen is I'm going to bend it inconsistently, and I'm really going to notice that when it's on every post, and you just kind of look at it and you go, well, that's well and truly out of whack. Any update on the carpet? We should be getting that next week if all goes well. It is an absolute unbelievable fiasco over that. Okay, it's not truly that bad, but feels like it. That's getting pretty desperate there to get the customers to do on-site that sort of work. Not sure I could handle that. I do like my tranquility. I didn't care much for the pressure at times when I was looking after all the internet stuff over there. And you'd do something on the mail server or something like that, you'd botch up one of the settings, or if you were just doing an upgrade and you had to do a reboot. Fortunately that wasn't that often with Linux, but every now and then you had to do it, and even if it was 3 in the morning that you did it, your phone would just light up within seconds. People going, I've got an important whatever quote or tender that I've got to get out before 5 o'clock this morning. Why isn't the server working? What's going on? This is an urgent, important thing. So it didn't matter what time you did it, and in many cases, the more obscure the time, the worse the complaint would tend to be. Shares with the yeah, I don't really understand what's going on with the carpet thing, because to the best of my knowledge, it should be a case of they get the deposit to secure the order, you make the order, the fitter or the installer is a separate person, and then they just come along and pick up the carpet and go. So I don't know what the big fat delay has been. I'm kind of worried about what the big fat delay is, because often in small towns, well, I shouldn't say small towns, but often in smaller business or medium business, when cash flow is a problem, they will often try consolidating or using your money to pay for someone else's order in the hope that the next order that comes in they'll use for your order. And it's that kind of really shitty behaviour that leads to a lot of people losing money and the business ultimately just being shut down and everybody loses trust in that person. It's not a good thing to do. Don't use other people's money, unless it's the bank, to buy stock advancement, things like that, or trying to catch up on stock. If you've got that sort of scenario, although it's embarrassing and difficult, it is often best just to go to say to the person, look, we're going to need more up front, or better yet, go to the bank and ask for a loan, or better yet, maybe just shut down before you take everyone else's money, because you're probably spiraling down that way anyway. Yeah, I hate it when they do that, John. I'm sure all of us have similar sort of things where it's like someone's riding your back for weeks while you're waiting for a part to turn up. And then as soon as you get it fixed up and you send the invoice, all of a sudden it's just like, hello? Hello? Anyone there? Hello? And then 6 months later they turn up and they want it immediately. In the meantime, it's probably, in your case, probably been stolen, or there's been a riot, or worse, Jacob Zuma's been released from jail again. I do watch the news for South Africa pretty much every day. It's been a long time since I've been there, but it's one of those countries that once it's in your blood, I don't think you can really get it out. Alright, so we've got, for the most part, the adhesive out. Now we're going to try and get the human junk out. The human junk is somewhat trickier. I've got to use a bit of water base. Yeah, you know they're going to get away with it. You know they're not going to do anything about it because there's going to be. They're just going to go, oh, well, it was for the revolution. And I think that's the biggest problem with countries like South Africa, is that even though they have supposedly moved post-revolution, they're still stuck in the revolution mindset because it's awfully convenient for the government. Typically the political party, or the party that managed to induce the revolution, the change and all that, is usually not the ideal one to form a stable, ongoing government. You pretty much have to turf them out very quickly before, because they're a revolutionary type party. It's how they work and think. And so they've got to constantly keep that kind of enemy at the door type thing. Your rights are about to be taken, they're going to come back and all that sort of stuff. Mike Sims, when you say West Africa, what part are you talking about? Are you talking about like up at the Congo regions, or Namibia, or sort of Namibia? Namibia I quite liked. A very unusual place for me. Just driving along that desert area. Felt like endless desert. It wasn't that bad, I was over it in a couple of hours, but to get from Windhoek to Swakopmund, spent a few weeks in Benin. Okay, I admit, I don't know where Benin is. Yeah, I'm gonna have to find out. There's always somewhere new to learn about. Okay, I'm having a hard time getting this junk out. Seems like it's caked in there pretty hard. This is more of a... You've seen those videos where they refurbish rusted old tools and things like that. I quite like those. There's something therapeutic about watching them. So this is kind of like refurbishing a iPad. I will say though, I have a bit of a beef with some of the videos I've seen where sort of people go, we're going to refurbish this MacBook. And all they do is essentially just take the pieces of a complete replacement MacBook and put them back together. It's like, okay, yep, that was not really what you do, but sure. I guess I'm a little bit jaded by the fact that they get a tremendous number of views. And it's like, oh, come on, can't you people see he's just taken an existing perfectly good MacBook that's in pieces and replaced it, except for one little item, maybe the RAM. Hey Mark, good to see you, Mark. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do about that mentality, Jan. I had high hopes back in the mid 90s. There was high. I don't know how old you are or whatever. I imagine you were around at that point. There was hope and everything back then, and then pretty much by the time Becky got in and the corruption started rolling with the defense contracts and things like that, it was like, oh, here we go again. Same, different actors, same script. And it never really got better beyond that. Hey, Belly, is me. How you doing up? How's things down your side of Australia? See, Benin borders on Nigeria on the west side. Oh, okay. Well, I definitely never got anywhere near that. Got up to Zimbabwe and Mozambique, and that was about it. Well, and Namibia, of course. I didn't really get much further up. Well, I didn't get any further up. Mozambique was as far as it got. Well, Zimbabwe, I suppose, is higher up. But anyway. I've noticed that these corners have all got a bit of a dent in them. I'm hoping that the new screen has enough slop in it, like, a quarter of a millimeter or so, and then that way it can sit in there without really running into issues with those corners, because the corners are a little bit banged up. So you went around then. Most of the older folks say the same. They thought there'd be change, but higher up government. Yeah, exactly. It's the same old thing. It's like people get into power, power corrupts, and that's pretty much the end of the story. And it just goes around and around and around. And I think the thing that makes it worse in the South African situation is, as you said, they've always got the scapegoat of the past injustices. And I sort of get that. And that sort of would have been applicable for the first 10, maybe 15, 20 years. But it's like, at some point, it's like, you know what, you've been painting this canvas for long enough now that you can't really blame the canvas if it's not coming out how you want. And of course the trick is, it is exactly how they want. Alrighty. Alright, now we've got to have the fun part of transferring the various little itty bitty bits. And hopefully without butchering another home button. Precisely, Travis, yes. And I don't know how Zimbabwe's going these days. I mean, obviously Mugabe off now. It's like, well, everybody was fighting for something better, but we're just basically ending up the same thing all over again. Okay, where the hell's my spudger? We're lucky up here. We don't have lockdowns. We do have to do the check-in stuff, of course, but we aren't subject to the lockdown yet. Mind you, I do go around and I wear a mask. And to be honest, even if it wasn't COVID, I'm still going to be wearing masks now, because at least now I won't immediately get pitchforked and tarred and feathered. At least now people can just sort of go, oh, he's just a bit of a weirdo. Just the number of people who run around sick as, coughing all over you downtown, not a care in the world. Like, well, if you don't want to get coughed on, don't come downtown. It's like, yeah, well, some of us have got to eat, buddy. Okay. Is there an inner ring there or something? There's definitely something that I've left on there. Let's see, we have a lot of people from Zim that come over this side and still and say the same stuff's going on. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Is it still ZANU PF that's ruling there? Because if it is, then yeah, nothing's going to change. Figurehead may have changed, but all those that enjoyed the conveniences that came with that sort of power will continue to do so. Does this look to the right and cough? What is it? This isn't a medical test. Stop grabbing onto those things. Okay, I need to find a... Yeah, because we used to always get hammered by the flu, and it made sense that obviously with all the lockdowns and things like that, naturally the flu numbers would drop. But like, we have the country show happening this year, and I'm not looking forward to the couple of weeks after that, because traditionally a couple of weeks after the country show, the town would become basically the city of pestilence. Okay, not pestilence, but yeah, I mean, so many people would be getting sick. Now, it could be coincidental, just in terms of seasonal timing, but it was enough that when that time of the year comes around, you do just want to sort of stay in as much as possible, and if you do have to go out, put on the personal protective gear. I'm 99% sure there's a ring here that has to come off. Now the trick's going to be, how the hell do I reapply it? Okay, that is just a glued on ring. I still wear it whenever I go downtown because, yeah, there's supposed to be all the mandatory check-in and things like that, and I can understand some people being suspicious of that. But I suppose I sort of equate it in the way that, say, Lewis does with regards to gun ownership in New York or whatever. That if people can't maintain clean toilets, then you don't hold a lot of hope with other things. And in this case, the fact that people just so happily flaunt the requirements of what they're meant to be doing, it's like I don't hold a lot of hope for them doing the right thing when it actually really, really needs to be done. So I'll just take the personal choice and protect myself where I can. I'm not really sure about if I need to secure this down or whether I can just get away with it being a press fit. Well, guess we'll find out. Vox on, Vox off, eh? One thing I've wondered about this, now maybe people who do these on a regular basis can help me, but there is obviously the sheet of plastic that covers the back of the touchscreen. That makes sense. And there is a recess, cutaway here, in that sheet, just over here, which I'm assuming that you just do the fold over and you've contacted down in that area. Now, on this particular one, it's not a problem. It looks like the cutout has given me enough clearance, but on the 6th gen ones that I get, when I do the fold over, there's not enough clearance on that cutaway of the plastic sheet, and it causes all manner of nightmares. So I have to decide whether I'm going to lift up that protective sheet to fold it down, or I just don't know what the hell. Is it a mistake on the manufacturing side? Do they not care? Well, they weren't right. They don't return my calls. They don't love me. So like here, so you can see that cutaway. That's great. But on say the 6th gen ones that I get, it's the cutaway is sort of like over here, and so when you fold this down, you end up sticking these bent down flexes onto that protective sheet, and so when you go to pull the protective sheet off, well, of course, as you can imagine, it causes hell. So I don't know whether it's just someone produced 10 million of those protective sheets and they said, nah, we're not going to bother recutting them, just let the text deal with it. Okay, China being China, eh? Well, that pretty much irritates me. Yeah, not what I want to hear. Okay, I thought that was just a piece of drag from my side, but it's not. It's part of the glue. And I fear if I pull on that little piece of glue, it's going to be like trying to pull that little piece of skin around your belly button, that little strand, and it unravels and your guts come flying out. Because essentially you release the plug on your internals and then you die. a horrible, gruesome, messy death. And everybody talks about it for many years after. So yeah, don't yank on that little weird stringy piece of flesh around your belly button, alright? Just don't do it. Helpful medical tips. This annoying little thing, I've never quite worked out how to ideally get it placed. So I just sort of stick it there and nah. I guess what I'll do is I'll just put that there, lay the screen down, let it bond, and lift it up. Yeah, Mark, don't go looking for it now. Everybody's going to be like digging around their belly buttons and go, oh, look, there it is, and just yank on it, and then there's going to be this rise of unraveling deaths, and it's all going to be on my head. And I was like, but I told him not to. Yeah, I need to apply my Dr. Phil disclaimer. The iPhone 7 audio IC issue, I still do them. Still good income from them. Thank you, Greg. Okay, looks tolerable enough. Now we have to bond this back on. Now, unfortunately, I've already butchered the poor bits of tape, so I have to get rid of those. That's great, Mark. Yeah, nice to know I'll be not off the hook for that. Oh, well. I don't know where I heard about it first. I thought it was a joke at first. But yeah, you really do have a little weird thing there. It's like the end of a jumper or something, and you just got to leave it alone. Don't. Oh, this is nice. I like how these home buttons have the two little prongs that align the back striker plate. Jeez. Oh, and this is the other issue I'm having with the 6th gen cutouts as well, is that when you put the home button flex down, you can't, because again the protective stuff is there. So yeah, it's lots of frustration trying to deal with that one. Alright, now I've got to decide whether I want to do this using Tessa tape or hot glue. I'll probably use Tessa tape. Ted, we're up to 1355 at the moment, though 1350 is the only public one at the moment. But it's getting good. That's why the updates have slowed down, because it's getting to the point where it's actually quite functional. Travis, are you laughing at the fact that I'm going to use Tessa tape, or are you laughing for an isolated reason? Let's see, I'll just show you the... So yeah, this is 1355, the one I've been working on right now. Yeah, almost at 30,000. It's been a very long process to get to there, but anyway. So I've got the iPhone 6, and I've fixed up. Okay, we don't need to see that. That's just OB data coverage. I took some suggestions on from other people and made the option where you can do things like not show the data until you click on a particular part. Oh, right. Yeah, okay, I wasn't sure, Travis. You're right. Thanks for clarifying. But yeah, you can see, we've got the diode values and all that. And we can do things now such as pin data preferences. you can choose which values you're going to have actually on the screen, so you can have all three of them, whatever. And then you've got a million different threshold adjustments and font size adjustments. And I've also been putting in these hover over sort of guide helping sort of things. It's not really that useful information, but it might be just enough to help someone sort of go, oh, that's what he means by that sort of thing. So on the iPhones, there's probably not a lot of voltage data at this point, but if we go to say a 165, click on that. So like, yeah, you can get that, and then you get the hover overs. So it's coming together quite nicely. Yeah. Ted, hot glue is actually what I normally do use, but I just wasn't sure whether I was kidding myself or not. Did you write this in C++? A fair majority of it is C++, but realistically it's sort of C with C++ attributes in it nowadays. What is it? Pilnov probably cries nightly over the fact that I really butchered that code. Because when we first got access to Open Board View, back when no one really knew about it, back when Lewis first discovered it and stuff like that. Yeah. It was fairly clean C++ code. Certainly Chlorodite used a lot of very pure C++ bits, and then I came along and just wrecked it. Absolutely wrecked it with my C. And I don't know why Pilnov even let me get near that code, because I basically commandeered it and wrecked it. See, is writing using interface code in C just as grueling as it in Java? I think it's more comes down to the library, the widget library and things like that you're using. We use a thing called ImGUI, IMGUI, or it's called Dear ImGUI, and it's an immediate mode system. It takes a little bit of getting used to initially if you're more used to an event-driven type system, and it gets a little bit frustrating when things don't appear as you're expecting and there's no persistence and stuff like that. But once you get over those awkward feelings, then it's actually quite good. I think I'm going to go hot glue method, to be honest, because the tester tape's all the wrong size. I just got to find my hot glue stick. I could always use JB World. Just kidding, I'm not going to use that. Yeah, Miles, I've got to work out... Look, I mean, I'm not going to joke around. It's like, yeah, they're basically my competitor in a way. I've got to work out how to get access to more data. See, at this point I'm relying on... Well, all those systems like ZXW, Synthesize, whatever it is, all those things, they have a great accumulation of internal data. Whereas for legal reasons, I can't actually touch a lot of that. I have to basically create a viewer and an interface system, but I cannot preload it with anything. As soon as I preload it with anything, boom, I'm going to get slapped down with a lawsuit so hard that I'll probably become a lawyer. Yeah, it's just not worth the risk to me. So I have to kind of rely on board views and schematics being public, and this is sort of where open board data is hopefully going to provide a little bit more of a parity for me. Hey, Pilnov. And it's difficult because, being in Australia, I'm obviously effectively another state of the United States, and you can end up in some serious trouble if someone wants to. I mean, as it is, I'm already probably skirting the line pretty close. System 76 has open schematics, does it? Okay. Board views are the real trick. Proper file. I actually do have an excess board view, but I haven't uploaded it. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's... The trouble is that a lot of the data, the board views and stuff that I do get access to are absolute rubbish. Like the iPhone 6, for instance. Oh my goodness. The iPhone 6 data that I originally received was so bad that if you did use that to try and fix things, you would actually break them. Okay. Unfortunately, this little thingamajig here is kind of getting in the way of me having the optimal positioning for that button. Hopefully the strike plate will still hold. Yeah, well, the other thing I want to add now to open board data is I've got to work out how to nicely do sequences or diagnostic sequences. Like I've got a couple for things like the 165s and for common sort of issues, things like finding why you have PM sleep S4L and stuff like that. And yeah, the hold up is just simply trying to work out the best way to go about allowing people to contribute that without them trashing the system. Okay, that's hopefully holding alright. Oh, that is some squeaky stuff you got going there. Okay, now I'm trying to think what I might use a teeny tiny strip of something to just tack down that home button there. I might have some Tessa or... yeah, I've got some B7000, that'll probably actually work. Miles, we actually do have that sequence in some of the boards. If you look at the not the 239, or maybe it is. Check the 239. I'm pretty sure I've got it on one of those boards, or the 1708, so like the 840. After I've just sort of prepped this. Okay. Now some people treat B7000 as contact adhesive and some don't. I don't know which it is. I don't know whether you can actually just seal it down and it will stick, or whether you do need to separate it, or whether it's just simply a case of it doesn't really matter. Oh right, sorry, I've read that better now, Miles. Yeah, exactly, things like that. Okay, if we don't disturb that for a minute or so, it might be okay. Treat it as B7000. New clamps. And it's not that doing sequences is a difficult thing. There's not really a huge amount in them. I'll bring up the text for one of them. Let's see, GVim. Yeah, here we go. I've got it. Alright, let's switch over to the schematic. Let's see. Okay, so we have like diagnosis data start. This is going to be like notes and things like that, and then we have a section for checking all the. This is the part where you are testing the rails to find out why you might not be getting 5 volts, for instance. And I just repeat that for all 4 of the 3215s on a board. And then there's this next sequence here, which was derived from the iLogi page, and it just goes through all the various things that you have to check. And you'll notice that it's fairly simple markup text in the fact that you have like P for part, the part number, and then the pin number, or you can have network and then the network name. That's essentially all it is. Now I want to be able to make an editor so that we can build these things and have them automatically supply the information so you get the correct name matchings within Flexboard View itself. And the nice thing is that will probably migrate across over to Open Board View as well once I've got it running properly in this. So I've tried to make it as simple as possible. The downside is, of course, there's a lot of visual niceties that get lost. So there's not like a lot of pretty formatting, but it keeps it, essentially it's more like rich text than it is anything else. So if you bring up that board 239, so it's very sort of simple. You click on the various parts and it goes off to them. And then we have so you can see it gets a bit messy here. I think you could probably make it less messy if you just sort of like space out the text a bit more, perhaps. Oh, there we go. Yeah, if we go for a wider type view, then it doesn't word wrap on me. So Penov, I totally agree with you there. The only reason I have put that in there is because I know we're going to be dealing with Windows users. And for as much as I do like just New Line, I have to admit that there is one area where Unix probably got things a bit wrong, but I understand why they did that. It was all about saving a byte. So, they said, well, let's change it from a 2-character situation to a 1-character situation, but at the same time you do lose it causes its own issues. But I mean, I do personally just prefer /n and away we go. But it's the world we live in. That didn't switch off. Hey Rose Electronics, good thanks. Hope things are going okay on your side too. I've been thinking about getting a food saver to do the vacuum clamping, because you're right, it is a better way of doing things. Okay, now usually I can peel this bottom one off after I've got everything else lined up, so okay. Naturally, of course, this is still very much live. The battery is still connected. Go ram it. Get in. Okay, that's good. Okay, double lock. This is the time I'll now find out that I in fact have got the wrong screen. No, I've got the right one. I genuinely thought for a moment then that Murphy was going to be playing silly buggers with me and tell me I've got the wrong screen. Wrong touch. A&L, yeah, this is your MacBook. This is the best you are qualified to use, okay? So, nothing fancy, just press and play. Okay, this is the bit where I start to make mistakes. So as long as I don't touch that screen, I can pretty much knock everything else off that gets on there. But if I touch the screen, it's basically all over. And I'm going to have to live with some sort of imperfections ruining my daily life. And hopefully this time I will remember, please people do remind me, I will remember to put the screws in for the screen, because that is how I ended up with a complete disaster the other day, is that I forgot to put the 4 big screws into the LCD, and so I thought, oh, that's okay, I'll just, you know, it hasn't been bonded for that long, it was only like a minute, I'll just pop the glass off and Bob's your uncle, put the screws in. It didn't happen like that. That first contact really stuck. So I had to fight with it, and when I was fighting with it, I tore the home button, and then I didn't realise until I put it back down again. So yeah, it was a real comedy event for other people, not me. It was more tragic for me. Yeah, Travis, it's a real, yeah, how do you say it? One of those ethical type debate things. Because realistically, how much does not having those screws in there really matter? I kind of get the feeling it's not a massive issue. It's particularly once everything's bonded back together. You know, because you've got all your little bits of foam that help push things down, blah blah blah. But it was a customer's machine, so therefore I was not willing to let my laziness dictate what I did. Oh man, I knew I shouldn't have. Damn it, I've lost one of the screws. Seriously? What is this, some sort of cockadoodle event? Where the hell did that screw go? I said to myself, put it on a magnetic pad. Put it on a magnetic pad. Put the screw on a magnetic pad. And I thought, nah, it'll be right. It'll just get attached to the pair of... Does that even look like one of these? Are you? And lo and behold, I don't even think that is the I don't think that's the same type of screw. Looks rather distinctly different. And it's not stuck to the tape. Damn it. Well, I think we're going to have to let this one slide. It's like I said, it's... I can use one of... This is from a 6th gen. Hopefully 6th gen screws are the same. Certainly looks similar. That doesn't mean anything. And the answer is no. The answer is 6th gen is saying, get stuffed, I don't belong in here. And now I've got to use a pair of superfine tip tweezers to get that one out. Wait, what? And what the hell? Where did that come from? There it is. But where did it come from? Oh wait, no, I'm an idiot. No, that's 6th gen screw. Whoops, sorry, my bad. I got excited over nothing then. The left hand does not know what the right hand is doing. How utterly normal. What about you? No, you're definitely not. You got this different crosshead on you. Stuck to random things. Maybe it's stuck on the... Ooh, what are you way over on the other side of the bench? Seriously? Yeah, that looks like it. It's way over the other side of the bench. It must have got stuck on the glass, and that is in fact not it. Okay, do these have different lengths? Okay, that is quite long, that one. Yeah, is the front shorter than the back, or are they all the same length? All the same. Yeah, thought as much. Let's see, do you want to fit in there? Do you want to play squeezy? Easy squeezy? No. What about you, buddy? You wanna? You wanna? No, definitely wrong thread. Too thick. No, unfortunately, I think, yeah, I've kind of definitely assigned this to be one of mine. Since I botched up that. That's really, well, how can I say it? It's really annoying. Look at all these candidates that we have, and none of them are the correct one. Hell, I've got some rivets from the 1398 the other night. Okay, I'm gonna get the... where's my great attractor? Ah, there it is. We're gonna run this across the floor in the futile hope of actually resurrecting the screw. I can feel a million things getting attached. I doubt any of them are going to be Mr. Screw. Yeah, lots of capacitors and such, but no Mr. Screw. Nope, nope, nope. See, worst experience with iPad digitized replacement was closing it up and screwing the LCD back in. The driver slipped and knocked the LCD. Ah, yeah. Just above the pliers. You mean this direction? I did look under the keyboard, and there's just various bits of sticky goo. The pliers themselves, more bits of sticky goo, which I've now just thrown onto the floor because I don't care, because this is going to get replaced. It probably will be non-ferrous, or certainly low ferrous. No, I think I'm just going to have to accept my punishment on this one, and this bottom right corner is forever going to be reminding me that I am fallible. I'm not sure I like that. The kind of reminder is rather offensive. It hurts my feelings. Now, I think this is Gen 4. I really don't know for sure, to be honest. Oh, Christian. Now, the nice thing is with all this activity, I've managed to get junk onto the screen. Okay, so we have our beautiful from the inside going out. Because if you go from the outside and drag, and all you do is you pick up the trash from that various bits of foam there. Oh well. C'est la vie. Shake the iPad. No, it definitely was. I know I left it out there, so unfortunately, that as much as I wish it was, kind of not really in the iPad, it's not going to be the winner this time around. God, see that piece of junk that just flicked onto the screen? Oh, great, now that touched the screen. Brilliant. And now I'm touching things I'm not supposed to touch. It's all unraveling. Okay. Panic stations, back up. Okay, this needs to go to the underside. God damn, that stuff is so good at sticking. There we go. Whew. Still got to get that little piece of junk out. You got to be careful when blowing your breath on these things, because most of the time you'll have a itty bitty little bit of spittle, and that spittle will go on the screen. So glad this is my own. Okay, it is not taking those flexes down. Aha. Gotchas. How many pieces of junk did I get on the screen though? I didn't pull the frickin' plastic. I didn't pull the plastic. Oh, you SOBs. Ah. See what I mean? This stuff sticks hard and fast. This is actually when you do need a Wagner. Son of a gun. Is that a cat hair in there? Okay, I think, yeah, I've got so much junk falling in there now. Right, I'm out of here. Well, I hope you're all having a good old laugh. Bloody hell. Alright, that will stick down well enough now. It's I loved how everything was sticking to me as well, you know, the extractor and then the screen, everything was just like, hold on for your life, Paul. But you've got a very small window to rectify that mistake. I mean, well, you saw it was less than 5 seconds, and already it was pretty much saying, "You are mine." Okay, so now we've got to wait for this to charge and everything. Blimey heck. So 2.26 amps. I don't know how long this is going to take. Yeah, 3 seconds. It's basically instant stick. So, like I said, if you get it right the first time, you don't need to have clamps much. Yeah, it does a fantastic job, at least with this particular set of screens that I'm buying. But my goodness, when you realize you've made a mistake, it's like horror upon horror. Hey Bob, broke one of the Face ID front. Ooh, yeah, that's gonna hurt. Yep. Yeah, Christian. If there's a speck in there, I'm just gonna have to ignore it because this is not coming off now without breaking. Lucas, how do you transfer data from measurement instrument to PC? Oh, let's see. Are you talking about how do I get it on screen or? Speaking of which, where is the multimeter data? Come on. 2.5 amps. Gotta be almost ready to boot by now. Lucas, yeah, you need to tell me what data from what sources going to what program to do what. I'm not quite sure what your question is. I really don't know what the question. I'm sorry. I apologise. I suspect we have a language terminology conflict here. Well, not conflict, but just mismatch. Bob, the people do them, but it is not something you want to do. It's already painful enough doing it on the simple ones like the 1466s or even the simpler the 1278s. But once we got to the retina phase, it was like, no, just walk away from it. The multimeter data, yeah, see, the trouble is I've got too many possible things that the data can be referring to, like flexboard view, OB data, things like that. Hey Steve D. Okay, 2.5. How long does this thing take at 2.5 amps before it's ready? Well, the button works. So you can. But will it boot? That's the question. Will it boot after all that fun and fiasco? Oh, okay. Interestingly, the power supply is using USB TMC, but the multimeter is not, or is it the other way around? I can't remember which way around it is. Now I've got to check. No. Yeah, the multimeter is using ordinary serial, unfortunately using a CP210X driver, but anyway. And the power supply is using USB TMC. And I think with the USB TMC, fortunately I don't have to do anything special with it. The Linux driver just automatically sorts whatever it's got to sort out, and then I just access it as a normal file, as I would, any other time when I'm doing communications. Do you Zcat it? No, I read it in with a C program. Let's try and see if I can find that. What is this one? Multicom MP71000. You can see how I've done it with the source code. It's on GitHub. Let's see, schematics. This is the source code for the on-screen display for the power supply, which is USB TMC. Let's see. No. Yeah, with the USB TMC device, I just open it and then I can just write and read. That's it. So I send through the commands, measure volt, and then I read it back. That's it. There's nothing else need to be done. Yeah, so it just opens as a normal file and you read and write to it. Too much code in C. What? It's actually not that bad. Yeah, it's still going. Yeah, let's have a look at another iPad. Let's see what this one suffered. Let's see what indignity it's about to suffer. I think when it comes to MacBook Retina displays, I think people are now getting to the point where they're sort of giving up. I think we've been beaten by Apple so badly. Now, I'm not saying everybody's giving up, but I'm just saying that it's getting to the point where we're like, you know what? Let's just move on to the new systems and, get Apple to change their displays if we have to. So we've kind of been beaten into submission. Alright, this has got liquid damage all over it. Oh man, what a train wreck. And this is the fancy pants one. What is this? A 2190s or 21 something. Hey, Sicky! Hey, it's been a long time since I've seen you around here. You've been busy, eh? Yeah, 2198. No, well the charger is 2.5 amps. Yep, still going at 2.5. It might have just been that the battery was really, really, really low. Eek. Yeah, train wreck. Jeez, it's all over it. What I really hate about with iPads is dealing with undoing all of this sort of stuff. It just seems, and getting the main board out, it just seems to all be crowded in on itself, interleaved, difficult to remove. So you spend a good half hour getting the board out before you realise there's nothing you can probably do anyway. That's what the other one's like. I think the other one's a 6th gen. Well, Wi-Fi is probably going to be well and truly fire trucked. Again, the same sort of thing. It's just like someone threw it in a pool and left it there a week. Hey, Tony Trilex? Yes, that's right. Well, at least I get paid a lot of money to say that, so yeah, I'll let you... Oh, this is another 3... Oh, I better give the SIM cards back to this person who gave me the batch of... And looks like that would need replacing too, most likely. Yeah, is it even worth doing anything with? I don't think China has a proper right to repair policy, but I think it's more a case of if it allows us to jump ahead of the West in doing certain things, then we're going to permit it. And since it doesn't likely violate any of the ethical or cultural concerns, then yeah, they're probably like, yeah, go for it. Trilex. I thought I said Trilex. Oh well. Oh, I said Trilex. Sorry. Anyway, yeah. So I don't know. Is it worth taking this one apart? Kind of looks like it's a complete cluster truck. Still freaking battery. Now I can't feel it getting warm anywhere, so it's not just burning power up nowhere, if you know what I mean. It's not chewing it up in a Wi-Fi chip or something like that. Let's see, Tony W, what did I miss? Joseph King. Does Jessa have a good taste in pineapple pizza? Oh, well, I hope Jessa likes pineapple pizza. I mean, it's a fundamental constant in life that everybody should like pineapple pizza. Ah, jeez. Okay, sorry, I've just got to answer the thing. Someone's commenting about a phone I fixed, and that's only 10 days ago, and it's lifting. That's weird. Bring it around after lunch tomorrow and I'll have a look. Full stop. Unusual for him to be lifting. Full stop. I always get concerned when people report that their screens are lifting. I'm talking crazy. Oh right, must be talking about pineapple pizza. Yeah, like that's 10 days ago or so that I changed that screen on the particular machine. I don't even know what it was, to be honest. But when I get reports about the screen lifting, it's like, so I do worry that there's a lot of people who will, I'm not saying it's the case in this instance, but I do worry that a lot of people try to push their luck. You know, they bend something or that, you know, whatever, they sat on it and it's become distorted. And they go, it just did it on its own. Yeah, basically Attack of the Nightstand. Or the Violent Carpet. It's just so hard to get a sense of trust of customers, unfortunately. And conversely, it's customers obviously probably feel the same way in many ways. For many years, you would hear about how people would get ripped off by dodgy, um, what do you call it, mechanics and things like that. So there's this inherent distrust in both directions. I'd be surprised if it's a puffy battery, but it could be. I don't seem to recall it being one of those type of... I don't know what I'm doing here, by the way. Oops, looks like I'm living up to the dream of being a bad tech. It's like, you got to get this main board out, which means you got to take all this stuff out. Ah, what a pain. Yeah, this machine is obviously well and truly stuffed. So we're going to be doing this strictly for educational purposes. But it seems like one cannot do what I was trying to do there. Okay. I was saying Kridov. Oh, it's like, when does it end? When can I actually take this main board out? And I think people who repair iPads are a special breed. They should be honoured. We should sing songs about them and things like that. Is that bonded on there? Is the camera actually bonded onto the circuit board, or is that something else entirely? Because that kind of looks like it's been hot barred onto it. This is a 2150. What is it? 2158. Or maybe it just needs the right spudge to get in under there and pop it off like this. Yep, all good. Crikey, how many damn things have they got in here? 50 million connectors? Seriously? Right, that thing still hasn't booted. That's got me worried. It's got me worried because it means I'm going to have to disassemble the damn thing again. And the liquid damage is just everywhere on this thing. Shame, I can't imagine this was a cheap iPad either. I'm going by the assumption that the battery is pretty much completely dead on this thing. Otherwise I would not be running around so carefree with metal tip tweezers. I would be using plastic spudger to lift up all this stuff. Yeah, you only glue twice. I've already done twice though, that's the trouble. So this will be now third time. Because I forgot to pull the plastic off the inside. That was truly an unfortunate moment in my life. And it'll be remembered always now because it's on YouTube. Fantastic. Ugh, it's so vile and wrong. I am feeling for where I'm going. I'm not just like carelessly shoving the tweezers into random crevices. I'm only using a gentle touch, and if I feel something hit against it, it's kind of like being a mechanic and torquing up an engine bolt. You just gently keep going it until you feel the snap, and then you back off and then spot weld it. All good. Ah, the iPad is alive, and unfortunately, it's got a goddamn passcode on it. I'm gonna find out. Damn it. Okay, now I know that I get to keep that one because I've already spoken to the person, already fixed up one of their other ones. But hopefully they can remember the password, and hopefully if they can't, that hopefully they can. It's not on a unique Apple ID that they have no clue about. Because if it's on an Apple ID that they have no clue about, and that sadly happens a little too often, then I'm basically just wasted my whole evening, didn't I? Alright, at this stage I think, other than that little lump of plastic bonding there, which like reminds me of SMC bonding, I think everything is done. The question is how to appropriately disassociate the two of them. Try some medium heat. Well, Travis, I guess the case is, what am I learning? Yeah, am I just, is this just going to be an exercise of familiarity? Wow, I can smell that this was actually soapy water that got this one. Like actually very strong soap. Okay, what I'm going to do is find out, or send a message to this person, job 615. Send a message to him, say, oi, you muppet, where's your money? Alright, let's see, bringing up my job screen. Very handy to have a job tracking system, even if it is a slightly dodgy one generated by your own hand. Nope, that's not my password. Nope. Nope. Okay. Check an alternative source. The reason why I'm doing this while you guys are all here is because at least I'll forget. By the time I walk down to the other end of the house, when I'm done with this, I'll forget. Like right now, I've already forgotten the name of the person. Ah, right, yes. Aha. Hey, Prater. Alright, so hopefully this is now, because there's adhesive stuff under here, right? Yep, yeah, of course there is, yeah. Hopefully it's kind of warmed up enough now that I can start to try and prise this. How do you people who work on iPads do this, really? I guess it's familiarity helps. Just seems kind of nightmarish to me. Bob, it's an IKBC. Yeah, it's not the greatest thing, but it's certainly it's no IBM. There we go. Ah, great. Let me guess. That cable is, I bet, soldered. Am I right? It's soldered, isn't it? It's goddamn apples. Yeah, I'm guaranteeing to myself that that is a soldered flex from the lightning port. Because why not? Why the frick not indeed? I don't think it was necessary, unless you're referring to something else. So how do you get this out? I must admit, I particularly hate this kind of tape. Yeah, it's that woven metallic type tape, and it's adhesive to other metals at least once. But then when you try to put it back down, it's like, no, I'm done, buddy. I'm sorry. I've had my days sticking to stuff, and it's over now. I'm moving on to other things. That's kind of interesting. That's just weird. Alright, so how do you get these out? Pair of Phillips. The old wearer drivers will do the trick nicely. I'll stick them over here so I'll never remember where they went. I sincerely don't see myself reassembling this thing anytime in my lifetime. Oh, well, maybe I might not be going batty, but I'm sure I'm going battery. There's just enough heat left. There we go. I was going to say, there's just enough heat left for me to lift that thing up. There we go. Let's see what corrosion on the battery pin, or nearby it. And it looks like these are peel-off shields. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure these are peel-offs. Yeah, Mike, I guess it's not even really an autopsy because yeah, it's more of just a hack fest. So I'm trying to. And I suppose there is the question of is there anything recoverable in this? Yeah, if I do get this booting or something, would the person want the data off it? Assuming I haven't butchered it. I mean, basically, they've given me the iPads to do whatever I want with them. But I suppose they're sort of also thinking, well, if you do have some kind of success, then it wouldn't hurt to have some data off it, pictures and things like that. Okay. Yeah, Mike, unfortunately, I find 90% of people do not do anything with the iCloud. I do genuinely wish that Apple would, with all their products, provide an iCloud account that had enough space to hold a backup of all their data on the device for the duration of their warranty. Yeah, if they did that, I think... Look, don't get me wrong, it's great being able to make money from recovering data from people's machines, but we're getting to the point now where we really can't do that very often, simply because of the fact that, well, when people forget their passcode, that's the end of the road. And so, since it's no longer really in our hands anymore, I do wish that Apple would just by default enable an iCloud account with enough storage for the device that's been purchased. Alright, so both the touch connectors are botched. The display connector seems to be okay. I don't know what's under that. Oh no, she did. That's probably catastrophic. Yeah. Can't imagine many things living through that. I mean, maybe I can clean it up. I'm not sure what power rail that's for. And there's more damage back there by the A10. And more there. Yeah. I mean, with this sort of level of damage, I'd be happy if I got an iPhone up and running. An iPad, I'm really pushing my luck there. And we've got corrosion around the storage as well. Yeah, it's been running well. Well, I guess the problem here is that it got wet, and it's like, well, you can't disconnect that battery, so what are you going to do? There's nothing. You just got to sit back and watch the world burn, because that's your only option. Yeah, let's try some 80/20. Well, I can clean away the corrosion as such. What we have to look for is places where the pins have actually been disconnected due to the corrosion. I'm not even sure there'll be any shorted parts. Most likely it's just a case of the corrosion will undercut the parts. Okay, does this shield come off? Is there something under here? Because I kind of feel like I want to get it off before I... Yeah. Now, this stuff has about 20% water in it, so it helps quite a lot with getting corrosion out. Now, as I said, I suspect by the smell of it that this liquid that got in here was someone's washing liquid. So I don't know whether the iPad went for a swim in the washing machine or something, but it's definitely got a very strong detergent scent. It's actually cleaned up not too bad. It's not great, but it's not too bad. Unfortunately, this is what a lot of stores do when they say, we recover your data. They just basically, scrub the board, fire it up. If it doesn't work, it's like, nah, wasn't recoverable, sorry. And it's like, oh, that's nice. Yeah. Might have had a chance of being recoverable if you actually did a little bit more than just that. I'm fairly sure I'm going to have to take this shield off. This kind of... I don't know what this section is. Speaker amp or something? Alright, so we have now at least gotten rid of the worst, but I do want to take this shield off now. There's probably more under there, and allow me, the corrosion's all in these edges here, so it will give me a chance to get into them. Or down the toilet and try. Yeah, that's the other possibility. Thanks, Mr. Mech. I really need that image as I'm working on it. Thank goodness I got gloves, eh? All hail gloves. So I think we'll do the Wagner heat. Is that an important part? Who knows? Prater, can you steal the foam board view and send it to me? This is a 2198. I need to get those board views. Oh, I don't know the board number. Yeah, I don't even know where to look for it on these ones. I need the extractor. Right, by model. Well, I don't know what this would be. I'm sorry. I'm not sufficiently familiar with iPads to know. $2198. So we're going to use the sort of Chris Longish gravity style. Mind you, I have a feeling I'm going to sort of have to work a smaller distance at a time and just rely on the fact that the metal will flex. And hopefully my fingers don't burn. Yeah, finger burning's seeming like a really good option right now. Yeah. I feel like these shields are actually using normal solder. They're not like the iPhone ones. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it just feels that way. Actually, it would make sense because they've got the pop-off. Yeah, they've got the pop-off, so I'm guessing then that would actually require full heat, which means I'm going to have to go for a slightly different strategy here. I'm actually trying to watch it to see when the solder starts changing tone. Okay, this is getting ludicrous. Yeah, nah. Seriously, Travis? That much? Honestly, I should be removing CPUs by now at this amount of heat. Yeah, I'm at 460 and 120. I mean, it comes down to familiarity, no doubt. And I'm insufficiently familiar with this particular device, so, you know, naturally I have a degree of apprehension about how much thermal energy I'm pumping into it. It's kind of like the iPhone 6. Yeah, that back shield on the iPhone 6 is just murderous for this sort of thing. Everything's just coming off the board. Everything's just desoldering itself. Just have to give that time to cool down. It did start to lift. It has started to lift a little bit, but I think if I'm going to do that, I might have to pickle the solder with leaded solder just to try and get the temperature down, because that's Yeah. Essentially, I would be better off in many ways putting that into my reflow oven and then picking it off in the middle of the reflow, which of course is stupid anyway, because most of the time when you try to do that, you can guarantee 90% of the parts are going to move, they're going to move off. I'm not touching it at the moment simply because it's just too hot for me to. We'll have a look at it under the microscope. So you can see I was starting to get some lift. So yeah, bro, I lift. But the poor old connector there didn't approve. Looks like I've caked my, ruined my bench top, but that's no drama. Yeah, I think I'll need to just sort of like pickle all along there with solder. That's crazy. Take the board views in the app launcher in a RADAT file. Prater, can I get you to maybe accidentally email me those files if you find them? I would be sincerely appreciative if you could do that. I'll be very curious to have a look at what the format is. Have I considered shouting at it? It's worth a shot. Let's see. Okay, so no, that's not why. I was going to say it's got soldered through tabs, but it does not. It might be worth slicing, cutting it into pieces so that it can take off portions at a time. Hey, Steve K. The program's... yeah, is it? Is it? Well, I thought it was a paid-for system, and with the paying, you got access to the files. I mean, I'd be fine to pay for it if I got I knew I was going to get the files. Wonder if we can just sort of like run something along here as we desolder, use the soldering iron. I'd be accidentally appreciative, yes indeed. Yeah, Robert Cook, that's what I was saying I'll be doing just now. I was just more getting an idea of what the structure is like. Obviously I can't use my micro pencil, that's no good at all. But we use the chunky chisel. No, Predator, it's okay. I'm just more curious about the file itself. Like I said, I'm just curious at least just one of the files. Give me some insight as to the format. Damn it. Yeah, Mark, I've got leaded solder. That's low melt to me. Not really the right angle to do this at, but okay. The other problem is we kind of got to pick off the other side as well. Yeah, I know. Should be fluxing and duxing and whatever. Need more flux, buddy. What doesn't help is, of course, the board is at, you need to be soldering at an angle, but No, look, I mean, I agree. Yeah, the 80 odd, or whatever, the bismuth type stuff is lower and obviously better. But, yeah, compared to what is on the board already, then, yeah, leaded solder is obviously going to still be a good 50 degrees less. Now, I'm trying to be very careful here because I don't want to actually chip any of the chips. Oh, boom, boom. Like these little, like that there. For all I know, that's a EEPROM chip that holds the critical information that if you lose it, it's like, bye-bye, so long, nice to know you, see ya, ta-ta. Yeah, I know those chips. Prater, I do have a Discord channel. It's on the Rossmann Discord, and I have a channel, a room in there, all to myself. Though I think Lewis did that just to keep me out of trouble, as opposed to being nice. Damn it, angles are not working for me here. Well, I don't actually do anything in terms of, what do you call it? Yeah, I don't. I just have that channel for chat. I don't actually have it for work or anything like that. Oh, I do love these snips. They're truly beautiful snips, these ones. Expensive as, but beautiful. Oh, we chatted. Oh, God, yeah, okay, that'd be a while ago. It's been a long time since I've been to Soren's channel. For no other reason, as the fact that I'm just busy with everything else. That's very insightful of you, Tony. You would be quite correct. Yeah, there's a whole chip missing. Interesting. Oh, come on, that should let go. That legitimately should let go. Yeah, probably a seagull indeed. Yeah, there we go. It's probably just for communication band that we don't support here or whatever. Other side, Paul. Approach it from the wrong side and you won't have any success. Alright, Prater, fair enough. Yeah, okay. See what I can do. Shoot. Shoot. Sorry about the lack of focus. Not really my primary concern at this point. By the way, I don't recommend anyone do it this way. It is unquestionably bad form. If Jessa Jones was here, she'd have an absolute freaking heart attack. No, the pad's... Okay, we kind of botched that sucker up. That's alright. It's reballable. We can fix it. Like the $6 million man. Trouble is, everything around here needs like, and this is underfilled, so we're kind of up the creek. Yeah, chip on the corner came loose. That's fine. Like I said, we just reball it and put it back. This whole broadcom, that'll probably have to come off. We've got bleeding under there. That's not good. Thank God this here, which I'm guessing is the PMIC, is okay. But this here, trying to get this off, that's going to be fun because like I said, I don't want to get this too hot. Yeah. I just realised it's actually 1 o'clock in the morning. I really should not be here, so I'm going to actually close up for tonight. Sorry folks, I know we're just getting into the fun of butchering an iPad, but it is getting late. I do need to do some software work. So let's see. That email the other day with the offset labels, let's see where we go. They do not go over if there is a capacitor in the way. It shows pads and the labels hidden. What? I'm not sure. It depends on the drawer layers. That's the trouble. Yeah. Heat from under. Ooh, add hot glass assistive. What? No. No, well, I'll chip away at that. What I think I'll have to do is I'll just have to take segments, because if I don't chop the segments away, like if I don't separate them, then the heat conducts too much further down. And so you got to basically, if you do that, you have to bring the whole board up to temperature, and by then you've basically ruined your anything underfilled like this, the CPU in this case. So what I'll do is I'll just sort of cut segments, lift them after I've used some leaded solder, and it's not great. It's not something I would like to have to do if this was a real job. But yeah, this is, I guess, one of the fun things about taking a completely ruined machine and seeing what sort of approaches you can use. Alright, I'm out of here. Thank you all very much. I'm sorry it wasn't more of an interesting MacBook repair. You did at least get a laugh with me cursing and swearing at the fact that I dropped that glass down without taking the inner plastic off, but yeah, oh well, all fun and games. Okay, I'm out here. You'll take care. See you tomorrow.